A luxurious party filled the five-star hotel ballroom, crystal chandeliers casting brilliant light everywhere. A billionaire strutted in arrogantly, chin raised with contempt, unleashing cruel insults at the serving staff. Everyone remained silent, too intimidated to speak, too afraid to act boldly. In the corner, a single father in a worn shirt quietly set down his glass. He raised his head, opened his mouth, and the entire room froze completely. Meet Thomas Reed, 39 years old, single father, brown hair showing early gray, tall but thin frame, eyes carrying deep sadness. He worked as a contract accountant for events, definitely not part of the wealthy elite, just another working man trying to survive. People usually looked right through Thomas, as if he didn't exist, just hired help, invisible, forgettable, meaningless. His daughter Lily, 11 years old, brilliant but shy, often teased by classmates for having a poor father. Words that cut deep. Thomas quietly saved every penny, worked extra hours, took additional contracts, all to ensure Lily could have better opportunities, better education, better chances. At the event planning company, coworkers dismissed him as just a numbers guy, doesn't understand real life, can't grasp the bigger picture. During team meetings, when Thomas suggested cutting unnecessary expenses to preserve employee salaries, the manager laughed dismissively. "You're just an accountant. Don't interfere with major business decisions. Stick to your spreadsheets. Leave strategy to us." Thomas stayed silent, swallowed his pride, but remembered every slight, every dismissal, every moment of disrespect. His colleagues saw only a quiet man, a single father struggling financially, someone without influence, without connections, without power. But Thomas carried secrets, experiences, knowledge that none of them could imagine, chapters of his life buried beneath years of humble work. Every evening, he returned to their small apartment, helped Lily with homework, cooked simple dinners, read bedtime stories, provided stability. The real Thomas emerged in private moments, when Lily asked difficult questions, when she needed guidance, when she faced challenges at school. His past held secrets, experiences that shaped him, knowledge earned through sacrifice, chapters of his life buried beneath humble work, beneath financial struggle, beneath the daily grind of survival. Thomas had served his country with distinction, held positions of trust, made decisions that affected lives, commanded respect from those who knew his true capabilities, but personal tragedy, devastating loss, had driven him away. From that world of authority into this quieter existence, this simpler life, focused entirely on providing for his daughter. One night, after a particularly harsh day of workplace dismissal, Lily noticed his sadness. "Daddy, are you upset about something? Did someone hurt your feelings today?" Thomas knelt beside her, stroked her hair gently, looked into her trusting eyes. "Sweetheart, as long as you understand, Daddy will never stay silent when something right needs to be said, when someone needs protection." Lily nodded seriously, somehow understanding that her father possessed strength, courage, principles that others couldn't see. The mockery continued at work, the dismissal, the casual cruelty of people who judge worth by wealth, by status, by appearance. But Thomas endured, planned, waited, knowing that someday the right moment would come, when silence would become impossible, when speaking up would matter more than keeping quiet. He taught Lily through actions, through daily choices, through quiet dignity, that true strength doesn't come from money or position, but from character, from courage, from standing up for what's right. The grand event took place at the city's most exclusive hotel. Marble floors, golden fixtures, crystal everything, absolutely stunning. Billionaire Victor Harlow, 55 years old, famous for arrogance, notorious for cruelty, was the evening's most important guest. Thomas attended in his supporting role, financial oversight, seated at the back, practically invisible, easily forgotten, completely dismissed. Victor entered like royalty, chin raised with supreme confidence, immediately began barking orders, treating staff like servants, like property. You people only know how to carry trays. I'm paying for this pathetic excuse for what you call service. The atmosphere grew tense immediately, uncomfortable, oppressive. But nobody dared respond. Too intimidated, too afraid of consequences. Thomas watched carefully, observed the hurt in staff members' eyes, saw their dignity being stripped away, piece by piece, insult by insult. Victor continued his verbal assault, targeting everyone, including younger guests, even children who happened to be present. He slammed his wineglass down hard, liquid splashing everywhere, staining the white tablecloth, making servers scramble to clean. Lily sat beside her father, gripping his hand tightly, watching with wide eyes, trying to understand this display of cruelty. "Daddy, why isn't anyone saying anything? Why is everyone just letting him be so mean?" Thomas hesitated, feeling torn between safety and principle, between protecting his position and protecting others. Sometimes, sweetheart, silence can be more dangerous than speaking up, more harmful than any words. Victor's laughter echoed through the ballroom, harsh, mocking, degrading, as he continued insulting the organizing committee. Absolutely pathetic, disgraceful. Does anyone in this room have the courage to tell me I'm wrong? The entire ballroom fell silent, dead quiet, oppressive stillness, fear hanging heavy in the air like fog. Wealthy guests looked away, staff members stared at the floor, organizers fidgeted nervously, everyone avoiding eye contact, avoiding responsibility. Thomas felt his heart pounding, memories flooding back of other moments, other situations, when silence had cost lives, when cowardice had enabled tragedy. He remembered his wife, dying in a hospital, where corruption had diverted funds, where silence had protected the guilty, while innocence suffered. Lily squeezed his hand tighter, looked up with trusting eyes, whispered so only he could hear, "Daddy, if you don't speak up, nobody else will, and that man will keep hurting people, won't he?" Those words hit Thomas like lightning, like a call to action, like his daughter, giving him permission, giving him strength, giving him purpose. Victor continued his tirade, growing bolder, more vicious, more confident in his immunity, his untouchability, his power over others. "Look at all of you, cowards, afraid of a little truth, afraid of someone with real success, with actual achievement." Thomas stood slowly, deliberately, feeling every eye in the room, beginning to turn toward him, toward the quiet accountant, the invisible single father. His chair scraped against marble, the sound echoing, cutting through Victor's monologue, causing conversations to stop, causing heads to turn. Victor paused mid-sentence, annoyed at the interruption, scanning the room, looking for the source, finding Thomas standing tall. The billionaire's expression shifted, from annoyance to amusement, from amusement to condescension, preparing to crush this insignificant man. Well, what do we have here? Someone with something to say. Some little accountant. Thinks he matters? Thomas took a deep breath, felt Lily's encouraging squeeze, remembered his wife's final words about fighting for justice, about protecting the innocent. The moment had arrived, the choice between safety and principle, between silence and courage, between protecting himself and protecting others. Thomas walked to the center of the ballroom, every step deliberate, confident, purposeful. his voice calm but unmistakably firm. Mr. Harlow, your money doesn't give you the right to strip away other people's dignity, to treat human beings like they're worthless. The entire room gasped, shocked into silence. Nobody had expected the quiet accountant to challenge the powerful billionaire. Victor burst into cruel laughter, eyes gleaming with malicious amusement, relishing this opportunity to destroy someone publicly. A cheap accountant dares to lecture me about how to behave. This should be entertaining. Please, continue making a fool of yourself. Thomas didn't flinch, didn't step back, didn't lower his eyes, stood his ground with unwavering determination. I've watched good people die because others stayed silent when they witnessed wrongdoing. Today, I refuse to be silent when someone needs protection. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, confused whispers. People trying to understand what they were witnessing, who this man really was. An older guest, a veteran himself, studied Thomas more carefully, recognition slowly dawning, memory stirring, pieces falling into place. Thomas Reed, wait, you're Thomas Reed, the military financial officer who exposed that massive corruption scandal, despite knowing it would cost you everything. The whispers grew louder, more urgent, people pulling out phones, searching online, discovering the truth about the man they had dismissed. Victor's confident smirk faltered slightly, uncertainty creeping in, as Thomas continued speaking with quiet authority, with moral certainty. I lost my wife because hospital funds were stolen by people who thought their silence could be bought, who believed that money mattered more than human lives. The ballroom atmosphere shifted dramatically from entertainment to something much deeper, much more serious, much more real. Thomas's voice carried pain, but also strength, resolve, the voice of someone who had already lost everything and found something worth fighting for. I made a promise to my daughter that I would never again stay silent when witnessing injustice, when seeing people being treated like they don't matter. Lily watched her father, tears streaming down her face, pride swelling in her chest, finally understanding the depth of his character, his hidden strength. Victor tried to regain control, to reassert dominance, but something had changed. The power dynamic had shifted irreversibly. You think some sob story gives you the right to challenge me, to question my authority, my success. Your wealth doesn't impress me, Thomas interrupted, his voice stronger now, more commanding. I've seen what really matters, what actually has value, and it's not money, it's integrity. Several guests began standing, slowly, hesitantly, then with growing confidence, showing support, breaking their own silence, finding their own courage. The serving staff, previously humiliated, now looked up, hope returning to their eyes, dignity being restored through one man's courage. Thomas faced Victor directly, no longer the invisible accountant, but someone with authority, with purpose, with unshakable principles. I don't care how much money you have, how powerful you think you are. My daughter is watching, and she needs to see that her father isn't a coward. The room erupted, not in laughter, but in applause, genuine, heartfelt recognition of true courage, real strength, authentic leadership. Victor stood speechless for the first time, unable to respond. His usual weapon, money, influence, intimidation, suddenly powerless against simple truth. Thomas turned toward Lily, knelt beside her chair, spoke softly, tenderly, while the entire room watched. I want you to remember this moment, sweetheart. Remember that staying silent When witnessing cruelty makes us part of the problem, but speaking up makes us part of the solution. Lily threw her arms around her father, hugged him tightly, whispered in his ear, loud enough for nearby guests to hear, "I'm so proud of you, Daddy. You're the bravest person I've ever known. You showed everyone what real strength looks like." The applause continued, grew stronger, more sustained, as people realized they had witnessed something extraordinary, something transformative, something that would change them forever. Victor Harlow, the powerful billionaire who had entered with such arrogance, now stood alone, isolated, exposed, his true character, revealed to everyone. Within hours, the story exploded across social media. Single father confronts arrogant billionaire, stands up for basic human dignity. Video footage from the event, captured on multiple phones, went viral instantly. Millions of views, thousands of shares, countless comments. This is what real courage looks like. He spoke for all of us. Finally, someone with backbone. True heroism in action. Working people everywhere felt represented, felt heard, felt empowered by Thomas's brave stand, his refusal to accept cruelty as normal. At Lily's school, the atmosphere changed completely. Classmates who had once teased her now approached with respect, with admiration. Anna, Lily's best friend, told everyone proudly, "Lily's dad is a real hero. He stood up to that mean billionaire. He protected people who couldn't protect themselves." Thomas continued his normal routine. Same job, same schedule, same humble lifestyle. Refusing interviews, declining speaking offers, avoiding the spotlight. He preferred quiet life, simple pleasures, time with his daughter, meaningful work, authentic relationships, over fame or recognition. But everywhere he went, people recognized him, smiled warmly, approached respectfully, thanked him personally for giving them hope. "You said what we all wanted to say. You showed us that we don't have to accept being treated badly. Thank you for having courage when we couldn't find ours." The event planning company where Thomas worked experienced a cultural shift. Management began treating employees with greater respect, more dignity. His coworkers, who had previously dismissed him, now sought his opinion, valued his judgment, recognized his wisdom, his experience, his character. Local businesses began implementing policies to protect workers from abusive customers, inspired by Thomas's example, his willingness to speak truth. Victor Harlow faced significant backlash, lost business partnerships, social invitations, community standing, as his behavior became widely known. Thomas taught Lily, through his actions, that ordinary people can make extraordinary differences when they choose courage over comfort, principle over profit. The bronze plaque installed at the hotel reads simply, "In recognition of one man's courage to speak when others stayed silent, Thomas Reed, community champion." Lily read those words every time they passed, her heart swelling with pride, knowing her father had changed their community through simple, authentic, moral courage. Call to action. If you believe that one brave voice can inspire an entire community, that standing up to bullies protects everyone, that ordinary heroes can change the world, type "speak up" in the comments. This story isn't just about one party, or one arrogant billionaire, or one moment of confrontation. It's a reminder that silence in the face of cruelty enables injustice, perpetuates suffering, protects wrongdoers. Thomas wasn't wealthy, wasn't powerful, wasn't famous, but he had love for his daughter and courage in his heart. And that was enough to change everything, to inspire others, to transform a community. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is simply speak up. Subscribe to HA Stories for more tales that celebrate everyday courage and moral strength.